Boosting, 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 boosting. It's as if people stopped leveling themselves. However, this is a opportunity for us paladins to make a little bit of gold. The stockades. It's right in the center of Stormwind, and I think most people know of it. I see it being advertised all the time. As you can see right before you, several paladins and mages ran by to go run it. There's always people outside that want runs, especially on high population servers. Boom, look at that, right in front of me. Selling stockade runs, 2.5 gold each, free for all loot. And this is what I do too. It's pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward. And I really noticed that it is a solid, easy way to make gold. You don't even have to leave the city to do so. So this video is going to be talking about some tips and tricks on how you can improve your runs, things to speed it up, and how to earn the most gold you can from doing them. So here we go, let's get this started. Alright guys, let's jump right into it. So basically I see most of these runs selling for about 2 gold a person. However, depending on your server and depending on if demand is high, demand is low, that can change a little bit. I've been paid upward of 4 gold per run per person. However, that's not typically common. It's usually in that 2 gold range. Sometimes I try to stretch it and pull out 3 gold. And that being said, for each run, you're going to be getting on average about 8 gold per run if you have 4 people running with you. Honestly, I used to loot everything and then go vendor it. That can add a little bit of gold, but I noticed spending all that time sitting there and trying to loot everything, it just took too much time and it wasn't all that much more gold. I noticed just doing this, people love you for it because they're getting to get any of the greens that are dropping, any of the cloth, and it basically keeps your clients coming. When you're selling runs and you're keeping all the loot and you're vendoring it or you're selling it yourself, the issue with that can be is that people will do a couple runs and then they'll dip out. I've noticed with doing free for all loot for everyone, people tend to stick around a little bit longer. So we're going to go ahead and show you the exact run. You want to have your Retribution Aura up, your Blessing of Wisdom. If you're Prot, you can use your Blessing of Sanctuary. However, you're going to use your Seal of Light to keep your health up, and you're going to run through. I popped a Gordok Green Grog, not necessary at all, just a little bit of a stamina increase to keep you moving. As you're going to run, you want to be strafe running like I am right in front of you. That means running with your camera to the side. You'll notice your character's kind of doing a strafe motion, and that's what you want to be doing, because when you're running like this, as you see, I'm blocking, I'm parrying, I'm dodging, and that's reducing the incoming damage. So a big reason why this run works really well with a paladin is the parry. For those of you who don't know, when you parry, you get something called Parry Haste, and this means you attack back 50% faster with whatever your swing timer is left. So when you do this, your Seal of Light, as you know as a paladin, it procs a heal every time you auto attack. And so when you're running on the side like this, and you're getting these parries and everything, you're getting more attacks off quicker. So as you're going to run through, you're going to pull all the rooms, and you have to be wary of these knockbacks. I try to cleanse as much as I can, because if that little disease you're getting, it increases damage done to you by 5, and you can get quite a few stacks on you. So I try to keep them cleansed off, just reduce damage, and just keep pulling. So some of the tips for doing this. Basically, as you can see, I'm getting low health. I'm not stressed out too much because the damage is fairly consistent. You're not going to be burst down in here, so I wouldn't stress about it. Something you do too, if you're getting low, is just start to walk completely backwards, because then you're going to be reducing a lot of damage taken that way. So here, once you've seen, I pulled the entire first hallway and the left hallway. Besides the last room, I'm going to go ahead and bubble, heal up, and then I'm going to start taking these guys down. As you can see, I'll show you the healing here. You're basically going to pop your Consecrate, that Retribution Aura taking damage, and then I have a shield. I'll show up on the screen here. It's got a 1% chance to increase your block chance by 50%. So when that goes off, as you see right here, I'm blocking pretty much everything, which means I'm not taking any damage. As well as having a shield spike on that shield, it's doing quite a bit damage back. So I'm using Seal of Wisdom right now because I'm not fearful of my health. I'm doing just fine. And actually, I forgot to bring water, so I am doing this to regen my mana a little bit for the next pull. As you go through, they'll start to run away, which is a nice opportunity if you need to heal, if you need to do anything like that. Go ahead and do it at that moment. So I was just letting them know loot's on free for all, so one person isn't just stealing it at all. So here we go, right into the next pull. Pretty easy. I'm never too concerned about my health because this little last part is pretty low impact. Just a couple of mobs, you're going to go ahead and pull them. Same deal, Retribution Aura, Consecrate when they get there. Do this strafe running. Strafe running is one of the bigger, most important things here. You just want to make sure you're doing that to keep your blocks, dodges, and parries rolling. As you can see, I judged wisdom on some people. When your seal is getting low on its duration, I go ahead and throw out that extra buff, and then, as you see, I judge light on Dexter and Ward here, throw out my seal of light, and you start auto-attacking. As you get a lot of parries, your attack counter, you can see right here down at the bottom, the blue is my attacks, and they're going off like crazy fast, and that's how you're going to keep yourself healed up. Another tip for this instance, you want to use a weapon chain. Weapon chains, these guys disarm, and that's going to make you immune to that. If not, you're going to run in here and you're going to be punching everyone down. It's doable, but I think having a weapon chain just makes it that much better. Picking up something like what I have here, the Hanzo Blade, it's a really fast one-handed weapon. With a weapon chain on it, it just basically gets those procs off really fast, and that's what it's all about. Seal of Wisdom and your Seal of Light. Once you get everything down, you're just going to move forward. So while we're in here and we're clearing everything, because it's all pretty straightforward, I want to talk about some of the items I have. So I already mentioned the shield, 1% chance to increase block by 50%. This reduces damage by a ton, and because of this, it allows me to pull a lot more. You could use a Skull Flame Shield too. Skull Flame Shield is a really nice item to have. It has a AoE fire damage proc as well as a life stealing proc. That life stealing proc actually scales with spell damage. So if you have a nice, a lot of judgment gear, it's going to do some big damage and heals for you. Another thing to mention, I'm using a couple of different trinkets. I have the Uther's Strength. Uther's Strength is a 2% chance when struck in combat to give you a shield. This procs a solid amount. It's actually a pretty noticeable shield, so I highly suggest using it for these types of runs. You can use things like the Essence of Flame off of Ragnaros. That's going to just add that extra damage. It procs for around 13 damage, I think. I'm seeing that on the screen there. That's just going to do increased damage on your passive Reflect build. And then from here, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I will note, however, on this last hallway on the right-hand side, you will get knocked down a lot. And this is where RNG can kind of take effect. If you aren't careful, you can just get locked down in a stun. You see that little hand symbol coming up on my debuff slot there. That means I'm getting knocked down over and over. And when you're knocked down, that means you're not blocking. That means you're not attacking. It just is overall not a good time. I've had some runs where I've pulled this side of the room and I got knocked down so much that you get close to dying. So you want to be careful. You want to have your bubble ready. You can also Blessing of Protection yourself. And like you see this little gnome running up here on the side, you want to be sure that they don't run in and kill themselves. You want to keep your guys alive at all costs. I'm not super opposed to having them help you if they want to. I tell them they can sit back and relax. I make it easy for them. But if they feel the need to run up and help, I don't usually care too much. It's only when that first pull, when you're doing a big pull, that you need to bubble. And if you bubble, you drop all aggro and they turn around and kill the low levels, and you don't really want that. So just for the sake of speed, I'm dropping a bandage. Not necessary. If you have food and water, you don't really need to do that. I just forgot water in this run, and I'm just going to try to keep moving forward. So here we go. We're going to pull the last section of the boss. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the other items that I really enjoy for this run. That being the Demon Forge Breastplate is a 3% chance to lifesteal proc on a target, which actually scales with spell damage. And that scaling is very important. It does a lot of damage and it does a lot of healing. As you see, the little glowing green mob, I don't know if you can see it on my screen there, but basically, as they hit you, and you have so many of them hitting you, okay, you can see the 45 heal going off. Those are the lifesteal procs. You see a couple of them, the glowing green guys right in front of you there. That actually does a decent chunk of damage and does a decent chunk of healing as well. So this is a nice item to have. Again, it's not 100% necessary, but just something that I invested into to make my runs a bit more efficient and quicker. Another item to talk about would be, I'm sorry, not another item. Another enchant to talk about is going to be Absorb, Lesser Absorb, I think, or Greater Absorb. It's one of those. I'll put it up on the screen here. It basically it's a chance to absorb some damage on your chest piece. Turns out it's actually probably the better item to have over 100 health. You could either have 100 health, 3 to all stats or 4 to all stats if you're rich, or you can have mana. I noticed the absorb actually does quite a bit and saves you quite a bit of damage, and that's kind of what it's all about in here, is increasing your speed, going fast. Because once people see you running fast, being efficient, not dying in here, that's what's truly going to make them stay around and keep paying you more money, and that's what it's all about. So as you can see, I did that run pretty quickly. I'm going to pull up my timer here. It took like not even 10 minutes. It was, I'd say, about 8 minutes after everything, which is pretty quick. So 8 gold, 8 minutes, gold a minute, pretty solid. If you go too fast, I noticed with some of these runs, you can end up running out of time, and you'll be locked out from the instance. A lockout occurs when you reset an instance 5 times within an hour. So if you're able to keep a pace, which is about 5 runs an hour, then you're going to be in a happy spot where you're not going to be locked out too often. Like I said, these runs took about 8 minutes a run. You can bust out 5 runs super quickly and then get locked out and then have to wait a little bit longer, wait for that couple minute reset, and then continue on. It's pretty solid gold per hour. I'll do some math on the screen here to show you exactly how much I was making, but this is a super easy run, super simple. It doesn't take too much to do, and we'll go ahead and talk about talent choices here. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about a build that I like to run with this. Pretty straightforward. It's nothing too crazy. This is kind of a retribution build that if you're PvPing, if you're raiding, you can run this and you're not going to be, suffering for it too much. So if you go ahead and pick Improved Blessing of Might, this is just increased attack damage. You're really not going to be using this in the run. However, this is for outside if you're, you're raiding or if you're PvPing or whatever. This is going to come in handy. From there, Improved Judgment, one of the classic builds. Then you're going to put points into Deflection, Seal of Command, Pursuit of Justice, increase your movement speed so you're running through the dungeon a little bit quicker. Then you can pick up your crit. And then from there, you can go 2 points into Retribution Aura. So that's increased damage on that aura. Then you can pick up Sanctity Aura for your raiding, for your PvP, whatever. 2-hand, obviously, for your normal ret build. Then from here, you can go put some points back up into Deflection. And then 5 points into Vengeance. And then Repentance if you'd like it. I usually skip it. So then I go over here into the Holy Tree, Strength, Divine Intellect. However, if you want, you can pick out Spiritual Focus. With Spiritual Focus and Concentration Aura on inside the dungeon, you can have all those guys hitting you at once, and you can still cast off heals like no big deal. The only thing is if you get knocked down, it'll stop it. But if you're on the left side of the wing and you pull all those crazy amounts of mobs, all you have to do is throw up your Concentration Aura, and then cast heals right through all those guys hitting you. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Consecration, obviously, you need for that for the rest of it here. Then I liked Improved Lay on Hands, one of my favorite talents. Improved Healing Light, Illumination, and Divine Favor. This is probably my favorite build because you're not pigeonholed into, I'm just an AoE puller right now. However, if you are just fully committed and you don't want to have to respec, this is what you want to do, you don't want to change your mind, pick up Redoubt. Then I can go into things like Toughness, a nice choice here. Go into, I'm going to skip Kings. Well, actually, I'll pick up Kings just for the sake of it. I'm going to go ahead and improve Sealed Specialization. From there, if you're tanking, go ahead and pick up Improved Righteousness. From there, I like the Hammer. Going to go back into Righteousness. Sanctity Aura. Going to go into Reckoning. One-hand weapon specialization. I'm going to actually cap out Reckoning. Sorry about that. Holy Shield. Easy peasy. Then from there, you want to go ahead and pick up Consecration. So pick up your basic talents, Divine Strength, Divine Intellect, if you want those. Or one of these if you'd like them as well. Consecration. Pretty easy. And then from there, I like Benediction and some Parry Chance. So this is a pretty straightforward, easy build. I like this one for AoE tanking. It's got Reckoning for when you get crit, Readout for that extra block, Toughness. If you do need hit chance, however, you could go pick up Precision if you need it. However, I didn't really need it for this build. You're hitting so fast and so often, it's not honestly a big deal. You're hitting low levels as well, so you're not going to really miss them. But that being said, if you are tanking out in the real world, you might want precision so you're not missing your attacks. If you might need some of these other like essential tanking talents that you'd need. But for just the sake of AoE mass pulling these low level guys, this is something a really easy, simple build to do. You could do this as full holy if you needed to. You could do it full rep, full prot. It's pretty straightforward. Your main abilities that you're looking at is Retribution Aura. You're looking at consecration, so you're going to need some of those points into the holy tree, and then after that it's all about just auto attacking and using your seals to keep you up. So alrighty guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Like I said, I know a lot of people already know about these kinds of runs. I just wanted to share some of my tips and tricks on how I improved them and what I thought and how to keep it moving. I see mages can do this easily. I know I've seen druids do it as well with their thorns and swipe as a bear form. But yeah, like I said, pretty easy, fun run. Easy gold per hour. You don't even have to leave the city to do so. There's mages outside with water. There's food. There's vendors. You can stay in the city and make your gold too. It's a pretty happy medium. Lots of people out here are always wanting boosts. You got all the level 60s who are rich and don't feel like leveling their alts, and so there you go. You can be there for them. But like I said, I think it's good about making a nice clientele. It's you're running a quote unquote business here. So if people like you, they're gonna want to pick you over the other guy, right? So hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys have a good one out there, and thanks for watching. Appreciate it.